Hi, I'm going to talk you through the Evolutionary Relationships learning cycle. So in the Evolutionary Relationships learning cycle landing page, you'll see that there are 3 I can statements, as well as the chart, the overview chart that shows you the activities and important notes and estimated time. This is a rather long learning cycle. If you take a look at the subpages, you'll see there are 1, 2, 3 different cycles within this learning cycle. You'll also notice that there are separate assessment pages. So you go through the first cycle to get to Evo R1, second cycle to get to Evo R2, third cycle to get to Evo R3. On the first engage page, what you'll see is an introduction to a lab. This Relationships and Biodiversity lab will be the major lab for the cycle, and you'll see that it is a quite involved lab, which will take multiple days to complete, and you will complete different parts at different steps. So you'll get an introduction to it and engage, and then later on in the cycle, you will continue. In Explore, you'll see an squirrel activity. You're going to complete part A, and then later in the cycle, you'll revisit it. And then to lesson, there's video and associated activities with the video. We go to apply, which you will see a problem set, as well as revisiting the square article. You will complete a Apple Maggot case study, and then you'll notice that you can, after the case study, you can sit for the hot seat and quiz for Evo R1. Then you will begin actually collecting data for the Relationships and Biodiversity lab. There are multiple parts. Notice you're just collecting data at this point in time. You are not actually submitting your conclusion because you will have to learn more about certain concepts before you can actually make a conclusion based on the data. Then you go into the second cycle, which is for Evo R2. There's an exploration, video, and notes, as well as a problem set, and apply. Then I want to point out to you there's an online lab. You will need to have access to your Google account, and you will log in using your Google account or create an account using your Google account. Make sure you pay attention to these directions. You're going to show me evidence of having completed the lab by taking a screenshot. Make sure that your name is visible and shows which lessons you've completed. Notice this is where you are able to submit the Relationships and Biodiversity lab write-up. Then you can sit for the hot seat and quiz for Evo R2 on the assessment page. Then for Evo R3, the final cycle in evolutionary relationships, start with an explore. You will need some images from the classroom in order to answer the questions. Now, you're going to do lesson. It's a bit different. You're going to start with a POGL. There's a chart that I would like you to commit to memory that was in the POGL. And then instead of watching a video or reading from an iBook, you're going to do some research. These are the research questions. I give you some assistance here by telling you, at least in questions 1 and 2, the traits that I'm looking for you to find out more information about. There's a link to a graphic organizer where you can keep your research. In the final apply of the cycle, there's another online activity I'd like you to complete. And then there is a pretty involved lab. You're going to submit part 4 of this lab. So you'll show me parts 1, 2, and 3. And then part 4 will be submitted for a grade. Then you will sit for your hot seat and quiz for the final Evo R3 I can statement.